what we're going to talk about is all around retention. And we're going to give you some actual tactical advice around how to maximize your client retention and just kind of get off that hamster wheel. Because I was actually thinking about this. Chicks love dudes who know how to retain clients. I think that's a fact, right? Because that's a big reason that Aaron liked me, is I helped to increase retention in her business. And that might be the whole reason that you married me.
Okay.
But why this matters, we want to start with that. Like, why does retention matter? Early in the business, it's important to get clients, right? You can't retain clients if you don't have them. And I think that's normal for, if you're early in your business, this might not be as relevant to you, but you should still pay attention.
I'd say though, like pretty early on, it becomes really relevant. If you've ever had 10 clients, then just start listening. If you're trying to get your first client, second client, this isn't a tactic for you. But there are 3 ways to grow a business. And I think there's only one obvious one, and there's only one that everybody focuses on all of the time. It was the only one that I was aware of. And it's to get more clients, right? If you want to grow your business, then you need to get more clients. Today, we're not going to talk about that one because we get so hyper-focused on it. But I don't want you to tune out right now, because these are, in fact, more important. They'll make you more money with less stress, because in my opinion, getting more clients is the most stressful one.
Yeah.
So we can teach you 2 easier ways to grow your business. Yes, you still need to get more clients, and we probably have 200 other podcasts and 100 other free trainings for that. But this will like change the game for you. I did a presentation on this at IFC Live event 2, I think it was 2 or 3. And I remember afterwards just conversing with students at the party and things, and just asking people, what was your biggest takeaway? And so many of them told me this presentation really just gave them that, oh my God, if I just do that, everything will change. So we're going to share with you how much it actually impacts your business, and why not understanding these other 2 things that have to do with retention will actually make you stagnant at 10 clients, 30 clients, 50 clients. And then we'll share just 5 really easy tips on how to retain your clients better.
Yeah, well, you want to first share like how, because a lot of what we share on the podcast are mistakes that we've made. And I know that Erin, you can kind of share. Yeah. So like what happens is, like, early in the business, you get those dopamine hits when you first start getting clients, and maybe you launch and they come in and you become really addicted and then reliant upon that. It's exciting at first, it's fun, but then over time it starts to lead to burnout, where eventually, you start to have this constant anxiety every time the month turns over, where it's like, oh no, I have to do this all over again. And that's what you found yourself in for a while, right?
Yeah. The only way that I thought I was going to make money in my business was constantly marketing, constantly bringing in new clients. So at one point in time, not even one point in time, for like literally 3 years in a row, I was bringing in 60 new clients every single month. You can imagine what that's like in terms of marketing demands, sales demands, fulfillment demands. And I was a solopreneur, so I was doing all that.
Well, not only that, myself. Like a new client is a lot of work.
Right. Yeah.
It's compared to a client that's using long term.
Repeating yourself over and over and over, because I didn't really have great systems to, get them onboarded.
And you could probably think back in EDF and Air Diamond Fitness, and you could probably remember the clients who stayed with you long term, building relationships, the best.
Yeah, no, and that, I thought, end of the day, that's why we get into coaching, is to really help people. But I just had the model all wrong, where I brought people in, I sold them an initial 8-week program, and so many of them fell off after those 8 weeks, because I wasn't as worried about keeping the clients as I was bringing in the new clients, because my systems were a mess. My offer wasn't priced appropriately. So like I didn't really make much money with keeping the client. So I was like, well, I have to go out and get another one if I don't want to go back and get another full-time job. So it wasn't that I didn't want to help these people. I was just in this fucking hamster wheel and didn't know how to run the business any other way. So when I tell you I'm passionate about what we're talking about today, man, if I could just rewind back to 2013, knowing what I know now.
Yeah. Well, comment below if you're watching this either live or on the replay. And if you're listening on the podcast, you can't comment, but you can shoot us a DM. Do you feel like you resonate with this? Like, you're constantly chasing new clients. At the beginning of the month, you have this pressure on your back where it's like, man, I gotta generate new clients, or else I'm not profitable. I feel like a failure. And some months you do have big months, and it feels like you're on a high. And then soon after that, if you don't repeat it, it feels as though your business is going to go under. Well, I want to share some stats with you. Okay. Number one, it's 25 times easier and cheaper to retain an existing customer than it is to acquire a new one. That's from Harvard Business Review. And number two, if you just increase your client retention by 5%, okay, and we're going to give you actual tools to do that, and you can increase your company profits by 25 to 95%. And Erin's going to break down a whole model showing you how that works, because that might be like, oh, that doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
Number three, repeat customers, they convert much higher. So usually like 60 to 70%, whereas new prospects, generally you're going to convert to like 30 to 50. Maybe if you're very early in your business, you have a lot of warm leads, maybe higher, but that won't continue. Existing customers are also 50% more likely to try new things that you produce in your business, new offers, new ideas, or whatever it is. But let's go ahead and jump in with this. So what we do in IFCA is we plug in what's called an LTV retention system. Okay, it's a system that leads to a 2 to 4x increase in customer retention. And so what that means is you'll end up stacking monthly recurring revenue to where at the beginning of each month, you're already profitable. Erin and I can look in QuickBooks right now and show that our business is already profitable 3 months ahead of time.
Yeah. And I think this part is important because anytime, this is something I've had to learn through going through so many coaches and sitting on so many webinars, listening to so many podcasts, is I would take people's advice as gospel sometimes. And then there's nothing in there around like, this person actually did it and it looked like this. And yeah, it's one thing for Jordan and I to say, we put this in our business and we could take the entire month off this month if we decided to, and still, make quite a bit of money. We could do it in February. We could look ahead and project it. We also could name 100 students that have been through Legacy that we've made this a big focus on. Lindsay Matthews comes to the top of my head where, prior she was riding the roller coaster, up, down, up, down, up, down, up for months, and the emotional roller coaster that comes with it. And now she's able to look in, I don't know if she's QuickBooks, but something similar. She's able to look and say, wow, next month, 45 grand, all of my expenses and more are already covered because I know what's predictable and who's sticking around based off of the past and who's stuck around. So you're able to kind of predict those things out.
Yeah. And another way to think about this is Erin mentioned 3 ways to grow a business: get new clients, make the clients stay longer, and make them worth more. There's a term called LTV, which is lifetime value of your customer. And I was on a call today with somebody who's going to be joining Legacy, and we calculated her lifetime value. It was at about $2,100. And the way that you can calculate this, just easy back of napkin math, is take whatever your 2022 revenue was. Let's say your 2022 revenue was $100,000. Now, let's say that how many total clients did you work with throughout the course of that year? Not just that are with you right now, but like total clients. So let's say it was $100,000, and let's say that you worked with 40 clients. Yeah, let's say 50. You divide that number. So 100,000 divided by 50. So your lifetime value is 2,000. Okay. So on average in IFCA, when we plug this in, the lifetime value goes up to about $7,000 to $8,000. So what that means is if your lifetime value is like this, 2,000, if you plug this in and you do what we're about to share, or at least part of it, we can't get into everything, but you can 2 to 3x your LTV. What that means is whatever, like one client normally would now be worth 3 clients. So for every 1 client you sign, it's now worth 3 instead of 1.
You're literally working a third as hard on the marketing front, which is the thing that tends to burn a lot of coaches out.
Yeah.
And burn their audience out too.
Exactly.
Eventually, you're just going to hit a wall.
Because you know how it is when you're showing up online when you don't need clients and you're just kind of sharing the things that are authentic to yourself that you want to share. Things usually work a lot better.
Right. Yeah, rather than needing it. It's the whole law of attraction.
Yeah, there's a quote from a client that shared. I saw this today. We have a client wins channel, and I figured it'd be relevant to share. She said, holy shit, in December, I did $43,000 in monthly recurring revenue while on vacation 2 weeks out of the month, and I only signed 3 new clients. And she said, I'm going to need a new hobby now that I don't always have to chase leads. So how would you feel if you had that kind of business structure? Like, think about that for a second. Put yourself in those shoes, right? You can not only go on a vacation without a laptop glued to your side, but you're still making money with no pressure.
Yeah. That oftentimes there's a limiting belief, I think, when we share really big client wins of our students that are doing 100K months or 43K months, even is a big number. I think the belief is, man, I would have to work way harder than what I'm working now. And in fact, a lot of times it's the opposite, because you're stuck in the Erin Diamond 2013 rat race and you're doing so many of these things on the front end rather than just tightening up all of your back end and your retention and some of the things we're about to talk about. My goal with bringing on any student is never let's work harder, because I've been through that, and I've been through all of the hormonal issues and all the bullshit that comes with that. And now that I'm on this side and can have a family and not stress out and have a bigger business, that's my goal for everybody.
Yeah. Well, Erin, you want to walk through this? Math is mind blowing, and I had to I was like, Erin, you got to share this because I don't even understand how it works.
I'll break it down more simple than I have it here, because I did a whole presentation around this because the math part is so cool to me. So, but let me make it as simple as possible. So if
I can actually share screen too for those of you guys watching live.
Yeah, that works. So if you think about it this way, if you have 30 clients and you have 10% retention, that means 3 of your clients are falling off every month, right? So in order to keep your roster the same at 30, you need to attract 3 new clients every month, because your inflow will be 3, your outflow will be 3.
So in that model, your retention would be 90%, and we call churn would be like 10%, right?
We'll make it more confusing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It gets confusing, so let's just try to explain it as simple as we can.
But I just want to make sure you guys didn't think retention was 10%.
Got it.
Yeah.
So, well, I call it outflow. So outflow, outflow 10%, churn, if you want to call it churn. And so then, your retention is the other side of the equation. But 3 coming in, 3 coming out means your business will never grow. It'll always stay the same. You're stuck because those 3 people are going out. So what do? You keep the 3 people, or you grow the 3 people coming in higher, right? Which that's totally doable. If you're only getting 3 new clients a month, let's talk, because there's a lot more that you can do. But most coaches don't have 90% retention. They don't have just 10% outflow. That would be pretty decent. Most coaches have, let's say, 30% outflow. So if we go back to our scenario of 30 clients, we're about to see how good I am at math. If we go back to our scenario of having 30 clients, that means 9 clients are going out the door. Is that right? Can you help me with math?
No.
I happen to have this calculator here in my hand. Let's see here. 9 divided by 30. Yeah, I was correct. That means 9 clients are going out the door every single month. So in order to keep your business at the level that it's at, you have to get 9 new clients every single month, right? So did you want to share what you're looking at?
Yeah. Is this the?
No, I'm riffing it because this is too confusing.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
We won't even share then. Cool. Just keep going.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. You were trying to share for them. I can go through it that way, but it's just a little bit hard, I think, for audio if they don't have a visual. I'm just trying to explain it in as simple terms as possible. So if you have 9 new clients going out the door every single month, then you need a marketing strategy that allows you to bring in 9 new clients every single month. See what I'm saying? So oftentimes we just are so focused on the new thing that we can get rather than protecting the ones going out the door. Here's the cool part, the really cool part. Retention can either make your business grow and compound on itself, or it can make it go in the other way, depending on how good it is, right? Because if your marketing strategy only brings in 5 new clients every month, but your churn is 30% and those 9 clients are going out the door every month, eventually you won't have a business, right? Because the 9 are going out, the 5 are coming in, but it's going to dwindle if we go back to that 30 number that we're starting with. But if your retention is so good and your service is so good that the people coming in actually refer people, the percentage can go in the opposite direction. So rather than 10% going out the door, what if 10% came in the door? Because the people that came in also brought people in. So there ends up being no limit on the amount of money that you can actually make. And it actually becomes your main source of lead gen when your retention is really good. Yeah,
because retention and referrals are going to go the same direction. If you keep clients longer, then obviously they're significantly more likely to refer people. So it's a really cool model, right? And the cool thing is too, like, we're in this business for 2 things. Well, it could be a lot of things, but I know when I got into this, it was to make money, to help people. I really love fitness. I was passionate about it, the impact that made on my life. But if you think about your own journey, you need longer than 3 months, 6 months. Usually a real difference for most people, especially fat loss or health issues, comes in about 9 months to a year. So how do we set up our business in a way that accommodates that and everybody wins? So let's jump into some brass tacks here. We've talked about like why this is important, and I'm sure you're bought in by now, right? So maybe comment if you're watching this. Does anybody at this point think like, nope, I don't believe it. Retention seems overrated.
I think it's not important.
Yeah.
Think, you know what? Actually, you know what seems easier than keeping those 9 clients? Getting more clients, 9 new more clients. Anybody feel like that? Because I don't know how I missed this for so many years. I was like, well, here we go, new month, time to get 60 new clients. What can I post about now? How can I say it differently?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's jump into, these are the 5, actually there's 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 pillars of an online coaching business in terms of what you're delivering. And if you're watching this or listening, take out a pen and pad and grade yourself on each of these. And depending on which you grade yourself, you're going to find some holes on where you need to improve on. So I'm going to give you the first four. Okay, there are five total. Sorry. I'm going to give you the four, and then we're going to talk about the fifth, which I think is most important when it comes to retention. Okay, number one, coaching, obviously. The one-on-one coaching is all about helping your client apply what you're learning, teaching, giving them, and executing it correctly, right? It comes with the accountability, feeling connected and supported, and having the access. That's a big part of it. Grade yourself there. Number two, content. Okay, so generally speaking, in a fitness business, content is not very important because content these days is very commoditized. I can go on any website and get mostly anything for free. YouTube didn't always used to be all.
Right. Yeah. If you think, the information packet that I give them when they sign up is just like amazing. Okay. It's probably doesn't matter that much.
Yeah, exactly. And now there are some like outliers here. Like let's say you're Jordan Syatt, right? Where you're somebody who is a prolific content creator, where you're able to create content in such a unique way that people come to you for your content. If you have that kind of audience and structure, cool, you can do things a little bit differently, but that's only like a small number.
Yeah. What actually makes content really good is simplicity.
Yeah.
I'll share a little example to illustrate this. So I hired a doula once I got pregnant, and she had so much content that she sent me, ebooks, all kinds of stuff. And I was like, this is great. I'll read it. And I had really good intentions. And I read about 20% of the stuff she gave me. And then I'm like, well, I'm busy. This is the reason I hired this person, is so that she could teach me these things. This is really no different than me scouring Google and like having to find all this stuff as to how I started to feel after a little while. So I gave up. I stopped reading it. Well, this is good content. She came over. This is also good coaching and good service. She came over to my house and she's like, hey, what about this? Don't you really understand? And so we sat down and we made a 5 bullet point checklist of the things that I needed to do. We hung it on the fridge, and that content, that one sheet was gold. It was exactly what I needed because it helped me. I think oftentimes as coaches, we overvalue our content because we're trying to sound smart. We're like, look at everything that I know.
Yeah. The fact is that they're coming to you likely because they're suffering from information overload.
Yeah.
So if your retention is low, one of the first things I would consider, and as you're grading yourself on this, don't think, how am I giving enough content? Think, am I giving enough simple, easy to understand, minimal effective dose? Because they want you to simplify it for them, like Erin said.
And look for specifically what my ideal client needs too.
Yeah.
That's a factor. There's other factors that go into like good content.
Yeah. Cool. Number 3, community. Okay. Arguably one of the most important pillars of a coaching offer that does contribute to retention. Okay. Community has to do with like how the clients interact with one another. Okay. Is there this like shared sense of support, experience, and is there camaraderie? Building community doesn't happen overnight, but it can happen if you do the last thing. The last thing I'll talk about that contributes to community, and we'll spend some time talking about this. Okay. Because I'm sure you're wondering, like, how do I build more community? It's not a tactic. There are tactics, but if you have, I'll just give it to you, your core values and your culture really identified, that leads to community. We'll talk about that in a second. The next thing is your programming. Programming is important, but usually it's very overvalued by the coach or the business owner, and it's often undervalued by the client. People don't want to work out. They want a simple, effective workout that's going to get them the result, right? So give them something that's simple, easy to follow, and that they can progress through. Now, unless there would be an outlier with that, which is culture. Okay. Like, what's your culture? Culture is this like unforeseen force in your business that will affect every area of your program. We often think of culture only in the context of like employees, but it's so much more than that. Okay. Every time you create a new resource for your clients, you send a message to your clients, you do a check-in, you interact with them, you're reinforcing your culture. And your culture will either be created by default or by design. And if you allow it to be created by default, what that means is you're letting your clients create the culture or other people or whatever, and it just runs amok. And you might create a culture of like, well, fuck this, I don't need to do this or whatever else it is.
Yeah.
And if you think about
a culture of complainers, remember we kind of talked about that with a legacy student the other day who said, my group, my specific niche, they tend to complain about things in their life, and every other group that I'm a part of, they complain about things. So I'm afraid of putting all these people together who typically complain about things. Yeah. And I said, you need to establish that culture. You need to make a video right at the top that says, hey, we don't bitch about our problems here. We fix our problems here. Yeah, exactly. And you can think back on like different coaching companies, and some of the best ones, you can clearly see what kind of culture they have. Maybe it's a very feminine girl boss mentality, right? And it reverberates through their content. And when you do that, it brings the right people in, and then that culture gets reinforced. And our values are what shape our culture.
Okay, it's what we celebrate and it's what we defend. So if you dial in like your three most important core values and you continue to communicate those, it will change everything in terms of community and retention. Your personal beliefs and your perspectives are what shape everything that your client has paid for. All right. So we're not going to be able to dive real deep into that, but just understand.
The sense.
Yeah.
And like, I still want you to continue to look through these as grading yourself on each. And if you're like kind of neutral in that, that's not necessarily a good thing. So really start asking yourself, like, what's our company culture? What does it stand for? What do we believe in? There's a great quote that's like, if you don't stand for anything, you'll fall for everything,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something along those lines. And we don't want that, because nobody does a good job. It's just a generalist, vanilla, just kind of here.
Yeah, that's why it's important from the very beginning to show up online exactly as you are and make sure that your beliefs and your values are very apparent, because those are going to be the kind of people you attract.
Yeah.
And again, if you attract this, if your culture attracts the right people, then you build a community of people who share common values, share camaraderie and common perspective. That builds community. Then you can plug in community events, open office hour calls, like mini challenges and things like that. But if you have a bunch of just random people that all have different beliefs and perspectives, good luck trying to build a community.
You'll know if you have great culture, if you're a coach who you've been coaching people for years, and every check-in you think to yourself, this person doesn't really even need me anymore.
Yeah. They're staying because of the culture.
They're staying because they need to be a part of this. Whether it's the people, whether it's like specifically your energy, because it's not your advice anymore at this point.
Yeah. So what leads to long-term retention? Well, first off, offer structure is really important. How you're pitching it on the front end, what your back end offer looks like. We're not going to get into that today, but clients ultimately stay long-term for continued access. Well, you got to get them a result. Obviously, that's like bar none, but continued access for your community and your culture. Okay. So the very last thing we're going to share here are 5 things that you can do that are more tactical to maximize retention. Okay. Alex Hormozi shared these as the 5 horsemen of retention. So let's run through them. Number 1, reach outs and touch points. Obviously, it's very important. You got to make sure you're connecting with your clients. If you can get into not a reactive, but a proactive state where you don't wait for a client to like hit you up with a problem, you're already there in front of them before there ever is a problem. So bare minimum weekly. What that means is if a client doesn't check in, you should be reaching out to them. Okay. You can also put in extra support. Now, this is where understanding how to properly structure your offer in the beginning, where you generate cash, then you reinvest that cash back into the business to make the offer better. One of the things you can do is hire a community manager or client concierge, somebody whose main goal is to keep clients engaged. They can shoot texts throughout the week, checking in on them, like a Monday text. Hey, how's your weekend? How can we help? Friday, how's your week? How can we help? This might be you early on, but eventually it can be somebody else.
Yeah. Main purpose of this is your clients don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yeah.
It's really just showing how much you care by checking in. And most of the time they'll say, no, everything's great, I'm doing awesome. But that really, it means something to them.
Yeah. Well, Erin, you want to share one of the ways that you can create more of a proactive environment for client struggles is a lot of times clients are hesitant to reach out and admit that they're struggling. It's a fear, it's a barrier. So you can create a safe environment for them to do so.
Yeah, it starts with an expectation from the very beginning and making it really simple and not scary. So actually, something we've done in our company is actually using safe words. So you create the expectation from the very beginning, the onboarding that says, hey, you're going to struggle throughout this. I expect you to struggle. But there are 3 levels. There are red, there are yellow, there are green. And inside of our program, we never go red. We never go red because if you go red, that tells me that we had a communication issue. You're going to go yellow though. So when you are in the yellow and maybe you're mentally not feeling it, maybe you've bombed several workouts in a row and you're considering going back to your own ways or this, or this, I need you to text me the word yellow. That's how I do my job. That's how I know. That's how I can be back on track. That's how I remain a good coach. That's how we get you results. But you make a deal with me. You're never going to get to red, right? You're going to text me that word yellow. Okay, cool. See how clear that is? It just opens the lines of communication to allow your client to feel really safe and not feel like a burden or any of the other excuses that they'll have.
Yeah, because otherwise what happens is like they'll think about reaching out to you. They'll have something typed out and they're like, oh, no, that's embarrassing. I'll do it later. And then they just suffer on their own. Then they drop off. They stop checking in. I'm sure we've all experienced that. And it's a terrible feeling as a coach. So having a system in there that removes that fear of judgment. The third.
And it's simple. Yeah. And it prevents clients from ghosting you because it's so easy. They don't have to like be super vulnerable right away. They have to say one word that you guys already agreed on, this one word.
Yeah. And what's cool too is if you have a coaching team, like let's say you have coaches in your, in your business, this allows you as the business owner to like really maintain client satisfaction and results. So what we do is our coaches would report how many clients are in the green, yellow, and red every week. And again, that's tracking. So we knew, okay, if a client gets in the red, that's a problem, right? Instead of just being like, hey, tell me how the clients are doing.
Yeah, right.
So the next thing is attendance tracking. So you might have all these amazing deliverables and features of your program, but they're not worth anything if nobody uses them. And so what you would do is you would have like a texting system and an email broadcast system to make sure you're communicating important things, reminders. So one thing you can use is like Textedly to upload all your clients' phone numbers and have regular text to go out, reminding them of things that you're doing, reminding them of open office hours or whatever it is, and make sure that that communication stays steady. Okay.
Do you suggest that one over Alaware?
For beginners, Alaware is a lot more expensive.
That was my question.
Yeah. And I think so basically Textedly is a lot smaller of a system, you know.
Mhm.
The next thing is like keeping track of your clients' check-ins. All right. Like, and how much are they showing up to the other things that you want them to show up to? Maybe you do a Saturday hit session on Zoom, which would be a great idea to do. You should definitely steal that. Where every Saturday, all of your clients are invited to a live hit session workout. You do the workout for 20, 30 minutes, and then you sit with them and you chat and you have this like little empowerment meeting, right?
Open office hour calls aren't new, but the thing that happens to a lot of coaches, they're like, nobody showed up. This is the way to get people to show up because they don't know that they need open office hour calls yet. They don't know that they have questions yet. They're afraid to talk in front of other people. You kind of have to trick them into that.
Yeah.
They know they need to work out, so invite them to a workout. And then at the end, you give them an easy prompt, you make everybody talk. They go, man, I felt really good after asking that question or opening up about it. Then you can like sell open office hours to them from there.
Yeah, that's a great point. I was on a call with a girl today who she does these and she calls them empowerment calls. Call them something cool, right? Like something that actually is attractive. You got to market and sell them to get to these calls. But anyways, the next thing is handwritten cards, gifts, video messages. So the more human interaction that you can create, the better. And whenever you're thinking about client gifts, customize them to the client. So something that we do with one of our programs is we ask, hey, like it's like we have a list of things.
Yeah, it's like we used to do it this way and then we just changed our process a little bit, but we used to have like of these things, of this list of random things, which is your favorite? And then we'd be like, don't ask any questions, haha, because it's so random. It's like, do you like peanut butter or cigars or wine? we're just wondering. And then we send them a gift specific to that thing.
Yeah, because if somebody gets a gift that is personalized, it's so much more effective. And if somebody gets something where they get it and they're like, wow, this was an inconvenience for the person who sent it, handwritten card, that shows a lot of like just inherent trust and just value. Okay. Making sure you celebrate birthdays, special occasions. Let's say a client tells you on a check-in that they have a wedding anniversary come up, write that shit down, put a reminder in your calendar to reach out to them and tell them happy anniversary. Little things like that, guys, contribute to retention so much.
Yeah. Side note, all these things contribute to retention, but you know what else they really contribute to is your program value and the ability to raise your prices.
Yeah.
People ask all the time, like, how do I have more value? How do I raise my prices? But have a really good fucking service, be the best. And yeah, something I think that I'm going on a little bit of a tangent, something that we don't talk about a lot in our IFCA marketing really is this kind of stuff, but we really, really care about our students having a good product or a good service. And what's cool is a lot of our questions on open office hours surround this kind of stuff. And the reason our students are able to charge what they charge is because they have really awesome deliverables and really great stuff. And they're able to go like, okay, cool. I'm in this group with tons of other students and my stuff is good. Like I'm able to compare it to the market. It's really good. Why don't I have the highest prices? And they're able to then have the conviction and have the value and have really good closing rates at that because it's just a transference of belief.
I'm glad you said that because a lot of people, you might be listening to this now and think like, well, I'd really love to take my business online or create an online business. Just don't know what it looks like. Well, there are two options. You can either just like wing it and sell $120 a month coaching with email check-ins, not create many results, or you come into a program like ours where we just give you a proven blueprint, tell you exactly what to do. So you know when your head hits the pillow at night, you're giving your clients every bit of value for $500 to $1,000 per month is on average what our clients charge.
Yeah. And I hate to say you'll ruin your reputation if you do it on your own and do it the way Jordan explained.
It's a risk.
And yeah, you might not ruin it, but you're gonna give them a very neutral experience and neutral customers aren't repeat customers.
Yeah. Two other things, and these are kind of, well, this one specifically, I wouldn't worry about this until you're a little bit later in your business. You have a back end offer, you've got more structure, but member events. You can do virtual events though. I think that's great, like a monthly virtual event where maybe you bring in a guest expert, or you do like kids Olympics. If you work with busy moms, have their kids come into a room and set up like an obstacle course, do something fun. You could bring in, like I said, guest experts. You could have like Jeopardy games, just something like that, right?
I mean, if you really want to take it to the next level,
Yeah.
our retention for IFCA in December was 87%. Our upsell was 87%. We had a massive live event in December, and it just brought everybody together. It was the community that they felt like they really needed. A lot of, once you're further along in business and you're ready to reinvest back in the business, and it doesn't, I mean, our event was like 170 grand. It does not have to be like to that level, but we have a lot of students in legacy who do things like this for a few $1,000s, and it makes just raving fans.
Yeah. In our fitness company, we used to just invite them to our house.
Yeah.
And we would have like a cookout.
Icebreakers, and yeah, it was a really cool experience.
Yeah. The next thing is exit interviews. All right. This is the last thing. If you have a proper exit interview process, you can cut your retention and cancellations in half. And if you want access to how to create exit interviews, just shoot me a DM or private message me and just say exit interview. I'll send you the whole script and framework. But essentially, you're going to have a client agree as they come on board.
This is gold, by the way.
Yeah, it's really is.
Listen.
That you're going to say, look, regardless of what the reason is, when we decide to stop working together, I want you to do an exit interview. And what the purpose of this is I want to know what went right, what went wrong. See, most coaches, when a client leaves, they don't really care to figure out how they could have done better or how they could improve, not us.
Or next steps.
Yeah.
That's a big thing, right?
Yeah.
I used to explain it this way. Like, I don't want to keep you forever, but I want to make sure that if we are parting ways, you're going on the right trajectory.
Yeah. And so you have them agree to that, and even put it in the contract, an agreement that you will do an exit interview. So then if anything comes up, life gets busy. You see, a lot of times clients leave because personal life things happen. They know that they're obligated to hop on a call with you, and then you have a chance to go through this script I'll send you to get them realigned with their why, realigned with their purpose, and get them back on track, and to offer a solution. Let's say they had something come up in their life. They're like, I just don't feel like I'm using this program this month. Cool, no worries. What if we just didn't charge you this month? And now you just didn't lose a customer. You only lost 1 month of payments. Right. Little things like that can just massively make a big difference.
Yeah. Or well, what about it feels so overwhelming? Oh, it's getting to the gym 5 times a week. Cool. What if we just switch this to home workouts for 20 minutes, 3 times a week? It's better than nothing. Oh, wow. And then they don't feel like a failure. They don't have to completely drop off. It's much better than what they were planning to do. So it just gives you the opportunity to brainstorm and help. And you know what? That's what clients remember. Like, who was there for them and who helped them throughout the hard times, not just when they were super motivated. They're going to remember that phone call.
Yeah. Well, that's mostly it. And I think the biggest takeaway from this is, as you're thinking, how do I add more value? A lot of times we just think, how do I get more certifications? How do I learn more science about fat loss? How do I learn how I can explain the Krebs cycle backwards in my sleep? Doesn't matter. What does matter are clients feeling seen, heard, supported, and more than anything, they're a part of a culture that they align with.
Yeah. Absolutely. Cool. Well, think on these things as you think through your marketing tactics and how do I make more money in my business? I would go back, I would listen. I mean, if we break it down into 5 and 5, there's 5 general concepts and then 5 tactics. And then inside of IFCA, there's so much more that we branch off and break off of those things. But this is vital to being able to have clients stick around, make more money, impact more people.
Cool. Well, hey, thanks guys for tuning in. And if you found this valuable, just do me a favor and just comment on this if you're watching live in the group. The reason I want you to comment is because it's going to get more engagement. More people will see this, will help more people. So please do that, and see you on the next one.